it's B, and today I'm going to be doing my December wrap up. So I know it's like a week later. December is well and truly over, but I wanted to bring you this video anyway because I did some reading in December, so we'll get into that in a minute. I know my last video was hella late. It literally went up as I'm talking right now. It's literally posted like 2 days before this video is going up, so your girl had a bit of an issue with that video. Over New Year I was really busy. I had my nephew and my sister over, so I was entertaining them and doing things with them, so I didn't have time to edit and upload until after New Year, and even then I was working really hard at work, so that's why that video was really late. You might see some differences behind me because I did rearrange my bookshelves a couple of days ago. The week after next, I am planning on doing a bookshelf tour, so you'll be able to see all of the books in their entirety in a couple of weeks. So yeah, look forward to that. I'm really excited about bringing you that because I'm like, ooh, that is the one thing that I love watching the most is bookshelf tours, and to be able to do one myself, I am so excited. So yeah, I'm trying to work out how I want to do it right now. I'm trying to kind of edit and swap some things around and try and make it all beautiful for when I actually film it. So yeah, excitement. You may have noticed that I didn't do a wrap-up video at the end of November. And that is because I didn't read any books during the month of November. I was in a humongous reading slump. Like, I didn't have the will to pick up a book. I read a few chapters of Six of Crows and a few chapters of Daughter of the Burning City, and that was it. I couldn't do it. So in the end, I decided to kind of skip November, have a clean start and restart in December. I read 6 books during the month of December. And I'm kind of halfway through another one, but I'll get to that when I get to that book. So yeah, let's get into the first books that I read during the month of December. So I actually read 2 different series during the month of December. I read a trilogy and I read a 4-book series. Like 90% read a 4-book series. So the first series that I read was the Immortal Beloved trilogy by Kate Tiernan. I have read this before, so this is a reread for me. I actually got the second 2 books in this trilogy a couple of months back, and I did talk about them in a haul that I did. I'll see if I can find that and link that in a box or below, so you'll be able to go and see me opening them and finding them and loving them. So I've had this specific book for quite a while. I got this when I first started reading, or in the midst of when I was really into Twilight and Vampire Diaries, because it does kind of have the same kind of themes throughout it. So this is the first book that I read during the month of December. I'm going to rate this a 4 out of 5 stars because it is probably one of my favourite trilogies that I have got on my shelves. It's got some of my favourite characters in it and some of my favourite storylines. Okay, so the theme behind this book is an immortal who has kind of had enough of her life that she's currently living, and she goes through a couple of steps to like get out of that life. She moves to a whole other country. She lives in London at the beginning of this, and she moves to America near Boston. She joins a whole load of other immortals in a farm, and it's kind of like a rehab for immortals trying to get away from like bad things and stuff, but she moves here. The main character is called Nasty, or Nastasia, and I love that. I love that they call her Nasty. So yeah, she moves to this farm and she starts learning all of these amazing things about her magic and her person and her like past and stuff. And then there's this other girl who's kind of really frustrating her because she likes this guy, and this guy apparently really likes her, but she doesn't really like the guy. So the other girl is like being really mean to her, even though she doesn't really have a thing with the guy. So it's kind of a pointless triangle, like love triangle, because it's not a love triangle. It's like really awkward. But yeah, some really cool stuff happens within this book. There's some really nice magical storylines within this book, and so yeah, I really love it. I can't describe what goes on without giving off spoilers, because there are some really big spoilers that I could say just from a couple of words from this. But yeah, you should definitely go and read it if you like immortals and magic and that kind of thing. So the second book I read in the month of December is, of course, Darkness Falls. This is the second book in the Immortal Beloved trilogy by Kate Tiernan. So again, this does follow Nasty, but it does have another point of view kind of spattered around throughout this book as well. We do have a couple of other points of views within this book. In this one, the guy kind of realises that he does like her, and she kind of realises that she likes him, but she doesn't want to be with him because there's this whole history behind it, and there's this whole thing between them from the past, and she doesn't want to get into that, so she kind of just ignores him. And then bad things start to happen, and she doesn't know why, and she thinks it's her, and she thinks it's her magic, so she runs away. And a person from her past kind of comes to get her, and he takes her to Boston, and they do a lot of partying, and something really, really bad happens towards the end of this book, and it gets interesting. So yeah, some really bad stuff happens at the end of this book. I'm not going to spoil the end, so that's all I'm going to say. This one I star 3.5 out of 5 stars, just because it gets a bit boring towards the end before it all happens. It plateaus a bit. It goes like this, and then it goes whoop, and then it goes like this again. So yeah, that's the only reason I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Just because it plateaus and it gets a bit boring, to be honest. But then it gets really good at the end, and then the last book is really good as well. So the third book I read in the month of December is Italia Yours by Kate Tiernan. This is the third book in the Immortal Beloved trilogy, aka the last book in the trilogy. This book is a hell of a lot thicker than the other books. Again, it follows Nasty. It also has a couple of other POVs spattered throughout. So yeah, this book introduces a hell of a lot of new characters within it. We have a lot of new immortals, and we have a couple new humans as well. So you really need to keep on top of who's who within this book, because I got really confused. We have a couple deaths within this book. A couple of actually really sad deaths within this book. Again, we follow Nasty. Obviously, within this book, one of her friend's brothers come to the farm, and they are quite high up immortals. They are like lords of the kind of immortal world. Nasty is kind of a princess, kind of, I'd say. We also meet another family member of Nasty. I'm not going to tell you who, because it will give away something huge in one of the other books. Within this book, we also see Nasty and her love interest, Rain, kind of realise that they like each other, and kind of realise that they wanted to be together, and that's a happy moment within this book. We have some 18+ scenes within this book, so I wouldn't recommend it to anyone below 18 or someone below an 18 maturity. If you can handle 18+ stuff, then definitely go ahead and read it. But if you can't handle 18+ stuff, then I definitely don't suggest you get this series, because it has some quite horrific and messy scenes within this. It also has some sexual scenes within this book, so it's definitely a cautionary tale of what your maturity is if you want to read this book. But yeah, 4 stars out of 5, because again, just amazing. Loved it. So the second series that I read 90% of within December of 2017 was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. What can I say about this series? So I obviously read The Raven Boys first. This book I had tried to read before, and I got up to the bit just before Blue and Gansey meet. I didn't realise that I was literally pages away from it getting good, but I couldn't continue it because it plateaued for me and I couldn't continue it. But as I started reading this, I realised that it kind of holds it steady throughout the whole book. It has some major plot twists, and it has some major things that happen, but I feel like Maggie Stiefvater writes it as though the emotions are all like one thing. I didn't get like overly happy, I didn't get overly angry, I didn't get overly embarrassed, I didn't get overly emotional or anything, and I feel like the characters didn't either, and I feel like that is probably why I struggled with it so much when I first started reading it years ago. I couldn't get into her writing style, and now that I've read it for 3.5 books now, I'm kind of getting it. Every so often I need to take a break, which is why it has taken me quite a long time to finish this series, or almost finish this series if I should say. So The Raven Boys follows a group of 4 boys and a girl. We have Blue, Gansey, Ronan, Adam and Noah. Blue, Gansey, Ronan, Adam, Noah. 5 people in total, and it follows their journey of meeting, becoming friends, becoming kind of boyfriend, girlfriend, becoming enemies, becoming all of this awesome stuff, and on their journey to find a Welsh king who is dead and buried and will grant you a wish if you wake him. That is the whole point of the Raven Boys series. Like, they don't find him in this book, they find another clue within this book of where the Welsh king might be. I would give the whole series a 3 out of 5 stars just because it took me so long to get into Maggie's writing style, and like sometimes I can read it and not put it down. Sometimes it takes me forever to get into it, like I'll read a chapter and be like, well, what just happened? Like sometimes nothing happens within a chapter, but then it all happens in like 2 chapters. It's crazy how much Maggie Stiefvater fits into such a small book with such a different writing style. A lot of the time nothing happens until the last like 3 chapters, and you've got to push yourself to get there, and that's what I'm trying to do with The Raven King at the moment. The other books that I read within the month of December are The Dream Thieves and Blue Lily Lily Blue. I have no favourites, to be honest, they are all the same to me. I've got to say I think Blue Lily Lily Blue is probably one of my favourites if I had to say one, and that's just because of the storyline between Gansey and Blue. I feel like when I have a chapter that's just based on Adam or just based on Ronan, I feel like I can't get through it, but when it has Blue and Gansey in it, I'm just like, yes, this is what I need in my life. So yeah, it's been a struggle trying to get through these, but I am trying. I've got through 3 and I'm like halfway through. I'm halfway through The Raven King. As you can see, it's in my little reading pouch. I'm halfway through The Raven King. Oh no, I'm not very far in. I'm on 108 out of 438. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, it's still a really great series. It's probably just not one of my favourites, to be honest. But yeah, I'd give every single book in here a 3 out of 5 stars. So as you can probably guess, the last book that I started reading within December 2017 was The Raven King, and therefore it is going to be the first book that I finished within January 2018. So I will have for you guys a full review of this specific book when I do my January wrap up. I don't think I can fully comprehend the series yet until I finish this book, so I feel like I'll be able to understand it a bit better when I have finished it in its entirety. Yeah, this is going to be the first book that I finish within 2018, so wish me luck. I think within 2018 I want to really start focusing on some books that I have bought within the last couple of months. So things like Flame in the Mist, Strange the Dreamer, Everless, The Taste of Blue Light, Warcross, Wicked Like a Wildfire, Caraval, This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet, and the Gathering of Shadows trilogy. I'm gonna try and see if I can get as most of them read as I possibly can. I know Strange the Dreamer is a huge book, so that'll probably take me a whole month to read in and of itself. So yeah, fingers crossed I can get a lot read within the month of January. I'm not going to say any specific books that I want to read within the month of January, apart from this thing. I did keep out the Maze Runner series from my last kind of pick at this, but I never got around to it, so I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to pick another book to read in the month of January. I can see that one. I'm going to go with this green one. I'm picking it out from the side. I've picked it. There's no going back now. Oh, that's exciting. Furyborn, if you can read that. Focus. So Furyborn is my first read of is my next read of January 2018. Really excited to read that actually, because I did start it at one point when I was in my slump. So yeah, tell me down below what books you are going to read within the month of January and how many books you want to read within 2018, because I love seeing what other books you guys are reading. Let me know in the comments. Next week I'm probably going to be doing a fact video so you guys can get to know me a bit better, and let's make 2018 a booktube year, shall we? Yes. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. I know I loved making it. If you did, then hit that like button and subscribe while you're down there so you don't miss any more of my future videos. I will see you guys in the next one.